You say I'm everyday, think it's brand new slang, but they started on a stage, these are Shakespeare's lines. Break the ice, wild goose chase, heart of gold, green-eyed monster in a pickle. Wear my heart upon my sleeve, it's all Greek to me. Good riddance, love is blind, too much of a good thing, seen better days. All that glitters is not gold, method in the madness, what's done is done. Flesh and blood, fair play, brave new world, melted into thin air. Neither rhyme nor reason be all, and the end all, something wicked this way comes. One fell swoop, star-crossed lovers in my heart of hearts. Clothes make the man not slept one wink. Eat me out of house and home, kill with kindness.
Knock, knock, who's there in my mind's eye?
The world's my oyster,
all the world's a stage.
Fool's paradise, not budge an inch. The game is up, lie low. Naked truth, a sorry sight, a dish fit for the gods. All's well that ends well.
We didn't write these words, they survived the years and wars. From the stage to the streets, they're still yours and ours. We didn't write these words, we just passed the torch higher. Every phrase, every line,
Shakespeare fed the fire. Shakespeare lit the English tongue, and we've been speaking by that flame. You think these words are just our voice, but they're echoes calling out his name. Be fire with fire, so full circle. Send him packing, come what come may. Breathed his last hair to stand an end. Every age keeps borrowing what the stage once said. Not our phrases, his, still living on our tongue. 400 years later, he's still the one. For goodness sake, foul play, as dead as a doornail, off with his head. Foregone conclusion, laughing stock, play fast and loose, live long day. From kings to common voices, they never fade. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Set my teeth on edge. The incarnate devil, as good luck would have it, with bated breath, as white as the driven snow, forever and a day. Fancy free all our yesterday. tongue-tied. Give the devil his due, laugh yourself into stitches. It is high time, the short and the long of it. Not our phrases, his, still living on our tongue. 400 years later, he's still the one.
Whoa. Come gather round and lend an ear of words once spoke both sharp and clear. Shakespeare wrote of love and pain, but oh, his rose still reign. I do desire we may be better strangers. God by you, let's meet as little as we can. Thou speaks an infinite deal of nothing more. Thy conversation would infect my brain. You blocks, you stones, you senseless things. Peace, ye fat guts, the night wind sings away. Thou moldy rogue, away. And still it lands the same today. Hey, hey! His wit's as thick as Tewkesbury mustard. Thou art a tedious old fool. I scorn you, scurvy companion. Tavern laughter, sweet abandon. I wonder that you will still be talking. Nobody marks you. And closer still, the meaning comes through. I'll beat thee, but I would infect my hands. A clean-cut burn from noble lands. I am sick when I do look on thee. You are as a candle, the better burnt out. No cream-faced loon, straight through the smoke, lily-livered boy, a brutal stroke. What soldier's sway face rings the call? No mercy left within the hole. A knave, a rascal, leader of broken meats. A full body roast from crown to feet. What you egg, young fry of treachery? Thou art the cap of all the fools. So if you'd speak with sharper grace, let measured words hold pride of place. And for today when he goes boast, now you may borrow from Shakespeare's roast. From Shakespeare's roast.
The forest looks quiet, the trees stand tall. No voices are speaking, no talking at all. The wind moves softly through branches and leaves, but life underground is busy beneath. Down in the soil where the roots all grow, microscopic threads spread to and fro. Their fungal filaments, thin as can be, often connecting plant roots in the trees. Trees make sugars from sunlight and air, and some move downward with care. Fungi help gather water and minerals too. In many forests that partnership's true. If one tree is stressed by drought or disease, or insects chewing holes in the leaves, it may release signals by day or night, some through the air, some out of sight. Nearby plants can notice and change their defense, thicker leaves or chemical scents, not words or thoughts or voices we hear, just biology working year to year. Sometimes carbon can move around through fungal networks in the ground. Tall, big trees help young ones nearby. How much and when can vary and why. So next time you walk through the woods one day, remember what's hidden under the clay. Curled on your chest or beside your leg, your cat starts purring like a small engine. It's not only a happy sound. Cats can purr when they're stressed, scared or injured too. A cat's purr is a low-frequency vibration, usually around 25 to 150 hertz. That's low enough to feel in your body, not just something you hear with your ears. That frequency range is kinda cool. It matches the low vibrations researchers study to see how the body responds to gentle movement, especially in bones and muscle. Bones don't stay strong from resting, they stay strong when they get small work signals. Tiny repeated forces tell bone cells, keep building, keep staying dense. Cats often purr while resting, while recovering, and even when they're injured. So purring isn't just about comfort, it's functional. Purring is created by airflow and vibrating tissue in the throat and voice box. It doesn't require thinking or intention. It's a physical vibration generated by breathing. That vibration can also affect the nervous system. Low, steady signals can help the body slow down, reduce stress responses, and shift into a calmer, safer state. Your cat is in a doctor, but it's fair to say a purr can power healing. It's a real low-frequency vibration in a range scientists actively study, and it can help your body shift into a calmer, safer state. So yeah, your cat can genuinely help you heal, like a tiny living sound therapy machine.
Be not alarmed, madam, on receiving this letter by the apprehension of its containing any repetition of those sentiments or renewal of those offers which were last night so disgusting to you. I write without any intention of paining you or humbling myself by dwelling on wishes which for the happiness of both cannot be too soon forgotten. And the effort which the formation and the perusal of this letter must occasion should have been spared had not my character required it to be written and read. You must therefore pardon the freedom which I demand your attention. Your feelings I know will bestow it unwillingly, but I demand it of your justice. Two offenses of of a very different nature and by no means of equal magnitude. You last night laid to my charge. First mention was that regardless of the sentiments of either, I had detached Mr. Bingley from your sister, and the other that I had, in defiance of various claims, in defiance of honor and humanity, ruined the immediate prosperity and blasted the prospects of Mr. Wickham. Willfully and wantonly to have thrown off the companion of my youth, the acknowledged favorite of my father, a young man who had scarcely any other dependence than on our patronage, who had been brought up to expect its exertion would be a depravity to which the separation of two young persons whose affection could be the growth of only a few weeks could bear no comparison. But from the severity of that blame which was last night so liberally bestowed, respecting each circumstance, I shall hope to be in future secured when the following account of my actions and their motives has been read. In the explanation of them, which is due to myself, I am under the necessity of relating feelings which may be offensive to yours, I can only say that I am sorry. Necessity must be obeyed, and further apology would be absurd. For a lady in Jane Austen's England, life was slower and more observed, dressed in stages, judged in rooms, limited by daylight and rules. Houses were cold, big rooms, high ceilings, hungry fireplaces. In winter most rooms stayed closed and families lived where the fire was. A day had stages, morning dress, day dressed dinner lasted hours, course after course, and every seat, every remark was noticed. Scent was practical, lavender on cloth, rose on linen, freshness you could carry through smoke, damp and crowded rooms. Tea itself was status, valuable enough to lock in a caddy, measured carefully, often kept under the lady's control. Letters had weight, private words were shared, news, evidence. A few lines could change a future. Dancing was language, invitation spoke, refusal stuck. The ballroom wasn't leisure, it was reputation in motion. Warmth, light, privacy, ease, nothing was assumed. Everything was managed, measured, earned, and lives could turn on one room, one letter, one dance.
Do you know the many phases of our moon? There are 8 phases, and it takes her 29 days to show us all her faces. First is a new moon. The moon is gone all dark tonight. She's hiding from our eyes. Then comes waxing crescent. A tiny curve begins to show. The moon is getting bigger, followed by first quarter. Half the moon is shining bright. She's growing every night. Now it's waxing gibbous, almost full and big and round. She's getting brighter still. The bright full moon is here. A perfect circle fills the sky. The moon is at her biggest. Getting smaller, here comes waning gibbous, still round but fading bit by bit. The moon is getting smaller. Smaller still, we have last quarter, half again but shrinking now. Her glow begins to fade. Just a tiny sliver now. We have waning crescent, a little curve is all that's left. The moon is almost gone, just a shadow with no light. The moon is new again. The moon will hide, then peek once more. She always finds her way, growing, glowing, shrinking, gone, then back again someday.
In the winter of 1947, Snag Yukon froze like nowhere else on earth. Minus 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold settled in, heavy and still. Normally sound rises, spreads and fades. Warm air near the ground, cooler air above. Voices, dog sleds drifting upward, lost in the sky, fading fast.
But that winter the air was different. Cold, dense air hugged the ground. Warmer air floated high above, a temperature inversion formed. Sound didn't rise, it bent back down, was heard through the cold layer. Sound was trapped down at the surface and traveled forward 4 miles. Cold air made sound travel farther. Molecules packed tight, passing vibrations with less energy. Lost the sound carried far. Snow absorbed the nearby noise, and the still air added to the air inversion. People in Snag heard voices, dogs barking, sleds moving 3 to 4 miles away. They could hear everything. They weren't hearing better. The air was supercharging sound, dense molecules, temperature inversion, quiet snow, all bending the rules of physics. Extreme cold can do this. All the conditions align, and distant voices became audible. And the people of Snag never forgot the winter of 1947.
1815, an island in Indonesia, a mountain named Tambora tore itself open. Ash did not darken the sky like a storm you could point at, but ashes ascended above and reached into space. Sulfur became mirrors, scattering sunlight, not stopping the sun, just thinning its warmth. No one could see it, no one could name it. And the world grew cold without knowing why. Snow in June, frost in July, spring waited and never arrived. Fields failed once, then failed again. Seed after seed turned into hunger. Bread lines stretched across Europe. Prices rose faster than hope. People moved because standing still meant starving. Punishment and times, moral failure. Stories filled the silence where science had no answers for them. And the world grew cold without knowing why. The sky stayed gray, the sun stayed shy. Spring waited and never arrived. One eruption shook the globe, not with intent, not with malice, just physics. We still live like this, feeling effects before knowing causes, filling gaps with stories while the planet keeps moving.
Why does freezer food taste weird?
Science time. Food has water inside it. In the freezer, water turns to ice. But even frozen ice can leave slowly straight into the air. That's called sublimation. It happens when air can reach the food. Airspace gives water somewhere to go. Moisture escapes into freezer air, so the outside turns dry, tough and pale. That is freezer burn. Cold air stole the taste away. No airspace, no escape. That's the freezer rule. Press the air out, seal it tight, keep your food moist and cool. Freezer burn is water leaving. Wrap it up, you're winning. It starts at the surface. Moisture leaves the outer edge, so the outside dries out. Then textures turn chewy, tough, or crumbly, and flavor fades when water's missing. Look for pale patches, icy crystals. Water moved, then froze in the wrong place. More air or loose wrap means more burn, and a tight seal slows it down. One goal, keep air off the food. Press out air, seal edges. Use thick freezer bags or airtight containers. Double wrap high surface. Foods like bread and meat. No airspace, no escape. That's the freezer burn rule. Press the air out, seal it tight, and moisture stays inside your food.
Pink and blue didn't always mean girl and boy. A long time ago, before the 1900s, most babies wore dressed in white, both boys and girls. Not because it was fancy, but because it was easy to bleach and clean. And since white wasn't a boy colour or a girl colour, families would reuse the same baby clothes for every child. Then, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, stores started selling more colourful baby clothes. Different stores and magazines tried different ideas. Many even suggested pink for boys, because it was like strong red, and blue for girls, because it seemed gentle. The strict pink is for girls, blue is for boys rule didn't really lock in until around the 1940s and 1950s. Companies noticed that gender-coloured clothes helped sell more, because parents were less likely to reuse hand-me-downs if the next baby was a different gender. As more stores copied what sold best, it started to feel official. Pink for girls, blue for boys. So that rule isn't ancient history. It's a pretty modern trend that turned into a tradition.
Everyone thinks invention looks like intention. A plan, a lab, a breakthrough on schedule. A lot of the things we love happen sideways. Not because someone was lucky, but because someone was paying attention when something went wrong. The microwave didn't start as a kitchen dream. It came out of radar work during the 1940s. Percy Spencer was testing magnetrons. The power source behind radar systems when a candy bar in his pocket softened. The point wasn't the snack, it was the realization. Microwaves are electromagnetic waves that make water molecules and other polar molecules. And food rotate back and forth. The motion creates friction, and the friction becomes heat. So food warms quickly, often from the inside out. Without a flame, a coral, or a stove. Post-it notes came from a mistake. A scientist named Spencer Silver was trying to invent a really strong glue. Instead he created a glue that was weak, stuck lightly, and it could be peeled off and used again. At first, nobody knew what to do with it. Years later, another guy at the company, Art Fry, had a problem. His bookmark kept falling out of his church choir hymnal. He remembered Silver's failed glue, put it on a small piece of paper, and suddenly it worked. That's the Post-it, sticky enough to hold, gentle enough to remove. Popsicles came from a kid, a cup, and the weather. In 1905, Frank Epperson left a cup of soda out at night with a stick in it. He forgot it, it froze. The stick became a handle. Years later, he sold them and eventually patented the idea. Not because he invented cold, but because he noticed what the night accidentally built. Ice cream cones weren't created as a fancy new dessert. They were created as a save-the-day solution. At the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, ice cream vendors were serving so fast they ran out of dishes. Right next to them were waffle sellers cooking waffles hot and thin. So someone did the obvious genius thing. They rolled a fresh waffle into a cone and handed it over as an edible holder. No bowl, spoon, no mess, just ice cream with a crispy handle you could eat. Slurpee started as a cold storage problem in the late 1950s. The owner of a Dairy Queen in Coffeyville, Kansas, needed a way to keep sodas cold when his machine couldn't keep up. Some accounts say he didn't have a working soda fountain, so he used a freezer. The bottles got too cold and turned into a half-frozen drinkable slush. Customers didn't complain, they asked for it again on purpose. He developed the idea into the icy, and years later 7-Eleven licensed it and rolled it out under a new name, the Slurpee. A cooling problem became a signature treat. Chocolate chip cookies happened because someone tried to substitute and expected the old rules to apply. Ruth Wakefield, who ran a Toll House Inn, was making chocolate cookies. She used chopped pieces of a chocolate bar, assuming they melt into the dough. They didn't fully dissolve, they held shape. Mistake became the feature. Pockets of chocolate instead of chocolate dough. Eventually Nestle partnered with her, and chocolate chips became a standardized ingredient. A failed batch became the world's favorite cookie. None of these were perfect plans, they were imperfect moments with someone present enough to recognize.
Most people picture battle and flame, steel in the roar, the cry of a name. But a night was forged before any fight, in preparation, duty and watchful nights. Knighthood men wait, you couldn't display. Land to govern, debts to pay, disputes to settle, repairs to command. Earning the trust, law of the land. Vigilance and ritual, steady, slow, earned in the labor nobody knows. Discipline and ritual, bought with a price, anointed, bound and paid. It started at 7 as a page, service, manners, restraint. Then in his teens a squire, near heat and flame, tending armor and horses, running messages through, earning trust before iron and dust ever drew. Knighthood wasn't taken, it had to be named. A lord had to speak you, stake his own name, and it cost more than courage, steel, horse and land. Some trained for years but never were crowned. Vigilance and ritual, steady, slow, earned in the labor nobody knows. Discipline and ritual, bought with a price, anointed, bound and paid.
Armor hung like 50 pounds of fate, custom steel, reworked and handed down, made to endure, to protect.
A knight kept horses for road, for labor, for war, and castles full of ledgers planned what men live for. Battle was rare, but sickness stayed near.
and many fell quiet from wounds and not fear.
The Silk Road was not a single road, it was a network of trade routes, stretching across Asia, Africa and Europe, connecting distant empires and cultures. It began to expand around the 2nd century BCE, when long-distance trade became possible between powerful civilizations. Silk traveled from China, but it was not alone. Porcelain, spices, glass, metals and textiles moved from region to region. Merchants rarely traveled the entire distance. Goods were traded in stages through cities and caravan hubs. The Silk Road carried more than goods. It carried ideas, beliefs, knowledge and change. Across deserts, across mountains, across generations. Caravans crossed harsh terrain, using camels and horses, stopping at oasis cities like Kashgar and Samarkand. These cities became centers of exchange, where languages mixed and cultures learned from one another. Religions traveled these routes. Buddhism spread from India to China. Islam spread across Central Asia. Art, science, and technology moved with trade. But trade also brought danger, conflict, heavy taxes, and disease. The Silk Road carried more than goods. It shaped civilizations. It connected the ancient world long before it knew it was connected. The routes faded, ships replaced caravans, but the impact remained. The Silk Road.
These words found us. Our language has roots, deep ones, and many of them run through scripture, a book that outlived empire. The writing on the wall, a wolf in sheep's clothing, the blind leading the blind, signs of the times, a house divided against itself. Go the extra mile, turn the other cheek, fight the good fight, the salt of the earth, a labor of love, my brother's keeper, ancient lessons folded into language. These phrases in our mouths like like echoes on the wind, older than our noise, still teaching us again. Pride comes before a fall, fall from grace, a thorn in the flesh, the patience of Job, broken hearted. The Bible became informed through exile, through translation, through time, until its words learn to live in us. At the 11th hour, sow the wind, reap the whirlwind, the wages of sin, the prodigal son, dust to dust, a time for everything. An ancient tale passed down through ages, still walking beside us. The first stone, wash one's hands of the matter, scapegoat, apple of his eye, forbidden fruit, a drop in the bucket, mercy, warning, memory, peace that passes understanding, an ancient text passed down through ages, still walking beside her. An ancient text passed down through ages, still walking beside us.
Whales are mammals just like you and me. They breathe fresh air though they live in the sea. Warm-blooded giants with a heartbeat slow. They rise to the surface, then down they go.
Whales of the wide blue sea, swimming where the currents roam free. Some eat krill, some hunt fish, each ocean sings their melody.
Some whales have baleen like a broom so wide, sifting tiny krill with every glide. Others have teeth and prefer to chase. Dolphins and orcas join the race.
Whales of the wide blue sea, swimming where the currents roam free. Some eat krill, some hunt fish, each ocean sings their melody.
Gray whales travel farther than any on earth, thousands of miles from the place of their birth. Warm southern waters when babies arrive, then back to the Arctic to hunt and thrive. Deep in the dark where the sunlight slips, humpbacks sing notes that can travel long trips. Clicking, buzzing, chirping tones, whistling messages like underwater phones. Ships and nets can get in their way, but people help more every day. Clean our oceans, keep them whole. Whales need space for their mighty role. Whales of the wide blue sea, swimming where the currents roam free. Let's protect them, you and me, guardians of the deep blue sea.
in a small stone house in Haworth, where the cold wind never sleeps. She grew up on the moorland hills, where the sky runs wild and deep. Her mother gone when she was little, 2 sisters buried young. So she found her world in open fields, where lonely songs are sung. The moors became her heartbeat, the wind became her friend, and every storm she felt inside, she learned how not to bend. She wrote small books with Anne and Charlotte, made up kingdoms of their own, storm-lit lands and broken heroes in worlds of wind and stone. 3 young sisters side by side, with ink-stained restless hands, dreaming bigger than the hills that wrapped around their land. They sent their poems out to London, no one seemed to care. So they chose 3 different names, and hers was Elizabeth. Wouldn't let them silence her. She wrote what she had known. It was not gentle, not sentimental. It burned with love and anger too, with Heathcliff's trade reach breaking through. Dark and elemental, it was not gentle. She wrote it when she was 29, her only novel ever, a story wild and complicated, of love that breaks forever. The critics said it went too far, too cruel, too strange, too grim, but they didn't see the truth inside, or how the storm was her and him. A year went by, she fell ill. Her breath grew thin and tight. She died at 30 in that house, before they knew she was right. She wrote 1 novel, that was all, but still across the moors it calls. The wind goes on, the storm remains.
At 16 years old, he was in the wilderness, mapping the land before it had a name. He never went to college or sat in a classroom. He taught himself by candlelight in the Virginia dark, a master of the dance floor who could move for hours, then ride into the woods to change the world. He was not a king, he was Agent 711, a master of secrets and an invisible link. He held the power of a crown in his hands, and he chose to give it back. 4 bullets tore through his jacket in the heat of battle. 2 horses were shot out from under him. He shook the gunpowder from his shoulders and stayed standing, a man the world could not bring down. He bred hunting hounds with names like Sweet Lips and Drunkard, and brought the first mules to the American farm. He never lived in the White House, he was setting the path for everyone else. Even as an old man, he would jump from his horse to help a neighbor put out a house fire. In the moment of mutiny, he reached for his glasses. I have grown gray and almost blind in your service. With those few words, the nation was saved. He was not a king, he was Agent 711, a master of secrets, an invisible link. He held the power of a crown in his hands, and he chose to give it back. Surveyor, spy master, firefighter, 7-1. Surveyor, spy master, firefighter, 7-1-1.
music be the food of love. Play on.
It is the east and Juliet is the sun. She doth teach the torches to burn bright. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged. Cupid painted blind. Hear my soul speak, the very instant that I saw you did. My heart fly to your service. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have. For both are infinite. When I saw you, I fell in love. And you smiled because you knew one half of me is yours, the other half yours. Mine own, I would say, but if mine, then yours. Doubt thou the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have. For both are infinite. I would not wish any companion in the world but you. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have. For both are infinite. Je suis déjà d'amour tanné. I'm weary now from love. Ma très douce Valentine, my very gentle Valentine. Car par trop me tient éloigné de vous le cours de ma destinée. For I am kept too far away by fate's hard course from you. Je suis déjà d'amour tanné. I'm weary now from love. Dieu pardonne à celui qui m'a hosté de vous toute cette semaine. God forgive the one who took me from you for all this long while. Je suis déjà d'amour tanné. I'm weary now from love. Ma très douce Valentine, my very gentle Valentine. Je suis déjà d'amour tanné. I'm weary now from love.
ma très douce Valentine, my very gentle Valentine. Je suis déjà d'amour tanné, I'm weary now from love.
Sullivan Ballou, a Union major in the 2nd Rhode Island Infantry, wrote this to his wife Sarah in mid-July 1861. Days later, he fought at the first battle of Bull Run. He was mortally wounded and died soon after. My very dear wife, I feel impelled to write you now, lest these words reach you when I shall be no more. On this calm night, surrounded by sleeping men, many perhaps facing their last, I feel death near, and I commune with God, my country, and you. I have searched my heart for any wrong motive in risking the happiness of those I love, and I find none. Love of country, honor, and principle have called me, and I have obeyed. Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It binds me with mighty cables that nothing but God Himself could break. Yet love of country carries me with those same chains to the battlefield. The memories of our happiness crowd upon me, and how hard it is to give up the hope of growing old together and watching our boys become men. If I do not return, never forget how much I love you. When my last breath leaves me, it will whisper your name. Forgive my faults and the pains I have caused you. I would give anything to shield you and our children from harm. But if I cannot, I will watch over you from beyond. If the dead may walk unseen, I will be near you always, in the breeze upon your cheek, in the cool air at night, in your happiest moments and darkest hours. Do not mourn me. Wait for me. We shall meet again.
Roses were blooming long before humans. Fossils trace them back to ancient. Nearly 35 million years waited before we learned to call them beautiful. They share their roots with apples and cherries, quiet cousins of the orchard trees. On the stone walls of Hildesheim Cathedral, one rose has grown for 1,000 years. Those thorns are not born from cruelty. They are shield, they are laws of survival. They keep the plant alive. China raised them 5,000 years ago. Romans scattered petals in the streets, pressed them into oil in ceremony, wore their scent like wealth. Their fragrance comes comes from hidden chambers, tiny glands on fragile skin. It was never meant for human longing, only pollinators passing through. We were the ones who learned to love it. Roses bloom in red and in pink, white and yellow, orange and peach. Through our hands, green and purple and blue, as if the flower keeps learning new words. Some roses climb 20 feet toward heaven. One bush spreads 9,000 feet wide. Hips feed the body with strength. Petals soften food and time. Roses are named by human hands. Their names outlive the ones who chose them. Roses bloom, they are cut back, and still they return. summer glow. Tiny red algae soaking up the light. Watermelon snow in the bright daylight. Ice blooms curl from a frozen stem. Petals made of frost gone again. Frost flowers growing overnight. Nature drawing lace in white. You think you know the weather's rules, but the sky likes breaking those. You think you know this world you're standing on. Then the snow turns pink and the moon paints a bow. Ain't pretend, just our earth showing off again. Snow falls hard and the dark clouds roar. Thunder rolls in a blizzard storm. Flashes of light in a silent glow. Thunder, snow moving deep and low. A glowing sphere drips through the rain. Ball lightning strange and unexplained. Floats for seconds, fades from sight. Still a mystery in the night. Fire in the sky but cool as ice. Sunlight bends the crystals just right. Not flames, not rainbows, high and wide. Circumhorizontal arcs collide. Two bright spots beside the sun. Sundogs made of ice and light. Tiny crystals bend the beams. Daytime stars in winter skies. When the sun is gone and the moon shines bright. Rain and darkness meet just right. A quiet bow you barely see. Moonbows born from moonlight beams.
A groundhog's not really a hog. He's a marmot squirrel kin by law. He digs his tunnels deep in the ground. Spends winter where the sun's not found. He can climb a tree and swim a stream. Run faster than you'd ever dream. His tunnels run beneath the ground, with hidden rooms that twist around. When winter comes, he goes to sleep. 5 heartbeats a minute, slow and deep. Body temperature settles down low, saving strength when food won't grow. Longer daylight starts the change. Little signals in the brain. Though the cold still grips the land, he stirs and wakes by nature's hand. Using energy just a bit, back to sleep till springtime hits. On February 2nd, Candlemas Day, 1,000 years began this way. They lit their candles strong and bright, to show the dark was losing its fight. So they watched the winter sky. Clear meant cold, clouds meant spring was nigh. That rule came here across the sea, and Groundhog Day grew naturally. The shadow tale is old and wise, from Europe's farms and winter skies. Clear days are cold, the shadows show. Cloudy days mean warmth can grow. So if no shadow meets his sight, they say spring's closer. Clouds bring milder nights.
Punxsutawney Phil showed up late. 1800s made him great.
His guesses miss more than they hit. It's just tradition, fun and fit.
Close your eyes and you're in the Netherlands in the 1600s. Ships in the harbor and a new flower arrives. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. From the Ottoman Empire, carried across the sea. In Holland it feels like treasure, bright and rare to see. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. Some are plain and simple, some look painted with flame. They call them broken tulips, but they bloom all the same. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. Rare things make people wonder. Wonder makes people talk. Talk turns into stories, and stories start to travel. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. Tulips grow so slowly, you can't make many fast. So people trade the bulbs and trade promises that last. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. Rare things make people wonder. Wonder makes people talk. Talk turns into stories, and stories start to travel. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. In the 1630s, some prices climbed so high. 2,000 or 3,000 guilders, 10 working years could pass you by. Rare things make people wonder. Wonder makes people talk. Talk turns into stories, and stories start to travel. A tulip, a tulip, a little bit of wonder. Not a curse, not foolishness, just wonder. Blooming in the world.
I have a dream.
Walk on, walk on, walk on, walk on. He taught us love is stronger than fear. Walk on, walk on, walk on, walk on. He said justice begins with courage.
I have a dream
Now listen for his words.
that one day
Now walk with him.
this nation will rise up.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Silence was easy, but he chose the road. Dream rhythm, slow and steady. The time is always right to do what is right. Dream rhythm, strong and quiet, a love that wouldn't turn away.
I have a dream.
Keep walking, walk slow, walk strong. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Walk slow, walk strong. Only light can do that. Dream rhythm, slow and steady. Hate cannot drive out hate. Dream drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. Dream rhythm, slow and steady. I have a dream.
I have a dream.
Rhythm, not an ending, a direction. Rest tonight, oh, let love, oh, stay awake. Rest tonight, oh,
I have a dream.
only love can
Sons
do
of
this.
former slaves and the sons of former slave owners, will they be able to sit down
Keep
together at the
walking.
table of brotherhood? I have a dream.